Alright, it's been like a month. I need to do this review sooner or later. So no funny business. Let's get started. Cue the intro, please. Alright, so Young Justice Outsiders, the long-awaited third season, finally arrived on the DC Universe streaming service earlier this year. We all know the story. After a successful fan campaign, Warner Brothers, the big bosses, decided to revive the show for a third season around the end of 2016. That was a long time ago. And now, at the time I'm recording this, the full season of Young Justice Outsiders is available to binge on the aforementioned streaming service. So what did I think of it? Now, being the hardcore Young Justice fan that I am, and I wear that title proudly, is that there were a lot of high expectations going into Season 3. And did it deliver? Yes, absolutely. But there were a few hiccups along the way that did bother me a little bit, but it didn't hurt my experience of the show. I still loved it nonetheless. But unfortunately, if you compare Season 3 to Seasons 1 and 2, it's easily the worst. And I'll explain why. But before we start the actual review, let's just recap a little bit. At the end of Season 2, the Reach invasion is over, Wally is dead, Nightwing has left the team and turned his leadership over to Aqualad, who is now a good guy again. Bart, aka Impulse, is now the new Kid Flash. Tim and Cassie are dating, Artemis is now Tigress, and we leave off with business as usual, with the season ending on the cliffhanger that Vandal Savage is working with none other than Darkseid. Flash forward to the beginning of Season 3, it's been 2 years. Aqualad is now Aquaman and is the leader of the Justice League alongside Wonder Woman, who is leading missions in space. McGann, now embracing her white Martian heritage, is now the leader of the team alongside Superboy. And they're living together. Interesting. Artemis is studying for her master's degree and is living with the clone Roy Harper, who has changed his name to Will Harper, and they are raising Leon together. And Kid Flash is still dead. Sorry. Now, the first half of the story of Season 3 basically focuses on Nightwing's new team of Outsiders, even though that's not their name, so they can shut down metahuman trafficking. And the second half focuses on Beast Boy's new team called the Outsiders, respectively, as they try to fight Granny Goodness through the joys of social media. I want to say right off the bat that the first half is a much stronger half than the second half, if you know what I'm saying, because the second half feels like a completely different show. It doesn't feel like Young Justice. But anyways, let's start with the positives. The writing is as best it's ever been, with several different plot threads stretching out over multiple episodes, and its focus and direction was tight and well done. I was expecting the writing to be good anyway. I will even say that because of this new streaming service, the writers are allowed to go a little more into darker territory and they can be more creative, and Cartoon Network isn't holding them down. Another thing that I liked about this season were the new characters introduced. Geoforce, Halo, Forager, and Cyborg are the main focus here, and I enjoyed all their interactions and their story arcs, with Cyborg being my favorite one. Now, while all these new characters are a good thing, they're also a bad thing as well. Characters such as Arrowette, Spoiler, Orphan, and even Tracy 13 get only a few minutes of screen time throughout the entire season, and it doesn't help that some of those aforementioned members I mentioned left the team at the beginning of the season, so there was no point in following what they were doing. This also brings me to something a little bit nitpicky, but I'm just gonna mention it anyway. I wanted more Tim Drake, Robin. We barely got anything from him here, and it feels like a crime. I really really wish DC could stop sidelining him in animated movies and TV shows. Anyways, the main point I want to make with the character part is that there are way too many characters to follow, and the season felt so congested, bloated, full? I guess those are the words you can use, because here's the thing, you have Nightwing's group, you have the Justice League on Earth, the Justice League in space, Batman Inc., and then the team, which is being led by McGann, who is bald, sort of. And then later, you have Beast Boy's team over here, the actual outsiders that depend a lot on social media. I feel like the creators could have done a better job of focusing on these different teams, but you could tell that they tried their best, but I wish they put more focus on, like, maybe Robin's squad. We barely got anything from Robin's squad. I'm gonna move on to another part that I liked and disliked at the same time, was the art style and the animation. You could tell that they had a lot of problems with the budget. They took a lot of cut corners. There's some very well made episodes, especially in that first half, such as the fight in Santa Prisca with Batman's team. There was also that bit with Beast Boy and that dream sequence, which was amazing. But you could tell they took a lot of cut corners on the budget. For example, Connor and McGann had a lot of psychic conversations, so they don't have to animate the mouth movement. There were some moments in episodes where characters should have talked, but they just don't. I don't know why. In the second half, there were a lot of like moments where there was like no animation, but they had these like dynamic images. I don't know how to say it. It played out like a moving, like a storybook. And the only reason I could think of as to why they did that is because of the budget. And it definitely threw me off because, again, it's a new element, and I'm just really hoping that the budget is bigger next time, so we don't have to have these kind of cut corners, and we can have more smoother animation. Because even though a lot of the animation was great, but for the most part, but you could definitely tell there were moments where it felt really like slow and incomplete, as if they were like skipping frames or something. I think that's how you would say it in animation terms. Like if you compare this to seasons 1 and 2, the animation was smooth, fluid, fast, which made the fighting scenes all the more better. But you could tell there was a very big lack of like well animated fighting scenes. I'm not sure how to say it, but that's basically what I'm trying to say. The art style is much better than seasons 1 and 2 in my opinion, but again, because of that animation I mentioned, the art style like suffered at times. Now moving on from that, we have the overall tone of the show. Again, it's a double-edged sword here because there's a bit of blood now on the show, and it's because it's been 6 years since season 2 aired, so the audience has grown up, so it makes sense to have a little bit of blood here and there. And furthermore, DC is more known for their darker tone and story, so it just took a little bit to get used to for Young Justice because it was on Cartoon Network. And there's also a little bit of swearing, which again threw me off because it wasn't there before. So it will take a little bit to get used to, and it was a little annoying at times, but it is what it is. But anyways, overall, like, I liked it. Like, there were a lot of highs, a few lows, but I think the creators did an amazing job of making Young Justice feel fresh after a 6-year hiatus. It's not an easy thing to do. And I definitely recommend that you watch it on the streaming service, because just don't pirate it, just support the streaming service. This is how we got a season 4, okay? Just support it on the streaming service, because I'm sure most people only subscribed to the DC Universe streaming service for watching Young Justice Outsiders. And since the next season is shown to focus on the Legion of Superheroes, meaning, you know, maybe Supergirl, and there's a lot more characters that are going to be added. Furthermore, I'm hoping we get to see Jason Todd in the next season, because this moment right here, can we have the clip, please?
Gray, Son.
Ah, your memory is finally returning. Excellent.
This moment was easily the best moment of the entire season. Anyways guys, that's my review of Young Justice Outsiders. I apologize that it's coming so late, but between college and work, you really can't do anything about it, but hopefully you enjoyed it nonetheless, and make sure to hit that red subscribe button and comment your thoughts below. Anyways guys, I will see you all next time. Peace.